Hello, my wonderful viewers. You are welcome to another edition of Cafdil Science Lessons. And from Cafdil Studios, this is your teacher, Ernest Bentel. Kids, today we are starting new lessons in Basic 5. Basic 5. And as you know, these lessons are based on the new GES NACA curriculum. So we are starting our lessons from Strand 1, Diversity of Matter, Substrand 1, Living Things and Non-Living Things. And today we are going to talk about life processes as the first substrand of Strand 1. So the lesson for today is on life processes of living things. Life processes of living things. Viewers, you are also reminded that you can enjoy these lessons on our social media handles. On YouTube, you can go to Cafdil Edu, and on Facebook, you can also go to Cafdil Cape Coast. So you can also enjoy these lessons on our social media handles. So today, we are beginning this Basic 5 lessons on life processes of living things. If you remember, in Basic 3, we treated life processes, and we are going to remind ourselves and then refresh our minds on it and then go deeper into some of these life processes. So at the end of the lesson, I would like you to achieve certain standards, and that is what we call our performance indicators. So if you pay attention and then you go through these lessons, at the end of the lesson, you'll be able to explain what life processes are. You'll be able to explain what life processes are. 2, you'll be able to explain the following life processes: growth, sensitivity, respiration, and excretion. In Basic 3, you learned that we have 7 life processes, and today we are going to go through these 4 and go into detail. So at the end of this lesson, you'll be able to explain what life processes are, explain the following life processes: growth, sensitivity, respiration, and excretion. Now let's begin the lesson. What are life processes? What are life processes? When you remember the definition of living things, we said that living things are things that have life in them. So the life that we are all going through, we go through some processes. So what are life processes? Life processes are things living things do to stay alive. Life processes are things living things do to stay alive. So that means that if you don't do these things, there's a possibility that you may die. And if you take living things, we talk about human beings, we talk about animals, and then we talk about plants. These are the 3 living things on earth: human beings, animals, and plants. And we are saying that life processes are things that living things do to stay alive. So they are things, if human beings do not do them, animals do not do them, plants do not do them, they may die. Human beings and animals do these things. Plants do too. They do them in different ways. So when we talk about life processes, human beings and animals, they do it. Plants also do it, but they do them differently. When you take life process, if you can remember, in Basic 3, we talked about nutrition as part of life processes. The way we eat, the way animals eat, the way plants also take in food are different. So even though these life processes are very important to all of us, we do them in different ways. When you give a dog a plate of food, they will just use their mouth straight into the plate and then eat them. And that is not the same way you eat. You may use your hands, you may use a spoon, somebody may use cutlery sets to eat. So even though we all go through these life processes, we don't do the same thing the same way. We do the same thing in different ways. Now let's begin with growth as one of the life processes, growth. And when we talk about growth, we are talking about becoming bigger, taller, and stronger. So when you were born as a child, you are still growing. And you see that if you look at your pictures when you were a baby, infant, to your childhood, you are growing, you are becoming bigger, you are becoming taller, you are becoming stronger. All living things grow. Human beings grow from babies to adults. So when you see the child here, you see the child growing, becoming bigger, taller, and stronger. And this is a process we call growth. So as a child, you grow. At first you crawl, and then you start walking, you start running as you are growing. So human beings grow. Animals also grow from babies to adults. Animals also grow from babies to adults. So if you see the cat on your screen, you see that the cat is growing from baby to adult. So you see the cat growing, becoming bigger, taller, and stronger. That is growth. So you see the cat also growing from a baby to an adult. So animals also grow. Then let's look at plants. Seeds also grow into big plants. So when you put a seed in the soil, the seed will germinate and then grow into a big plant. So all living things grow. Human beings grow, animals grow, plants also grow. Now let's look at the second life process, that is respiration, taking in and out air. Taking in and out air. Without air, we cannot live. You just use your fingers to block your nostrils for some time. You see that you'll be gasping for air because you need air to live. So as one of the life processes, we cannot do away with air. So respiration is the second life process we are going to look at. Living things need air to live. Human beings need air. Animals also need air. Plants also need air. So we cannot live without air. Even apart from breathing, if the weather is very warm, you see that you feel uncomfortable. Immediately you get fresh air, you feel relaxed. So living things need air to live. Animals need it. Human beings need it. Plants also need it. Human beings breathe through their nostrils to live. This is your nose. And the two holes through your nose is called the nostrils. That is where we breathe through. So human beings breathe through their nostrils. So sometimes when you go to school, your teacher will say breathe in and then breathe out. And the air passes through your nostrils and come out of your nostrils as you see the image here. So human beings breathe through their nostrils to live. Some animals also breathe through their nostrils. Some animals also breathe through their nostrils. We are saying some because not all of them breathe through their nostrils, but majority of animals also breathe through their nostrils. They take in and out air through their nostrils. An example is the dog there. Fish breathe through its gills to live. So fish, they breathe through their gills, not nostrils. So if you take a fresh fish, you see this reddish part here. That is what we call the gills. You see, when you take air, air is mixture of gases. We have carbon dioxide in the air, we have water vapor in the air, we have oxygen in the air, we have nitrogen in the air. So air is a mixture of gases. But when we are breathing, we take oxygen out of this mixture of gases and then we breathe it in. The same way, when you get into water, water too is made up of hydrogen and oxygen. So the gills helps the fish to take the oxygen out of the water. So gills helps animals that live in water to take the oxygen out of the water. So fish, they use their gills to breathe, as we also use our nostrils to breathe. So we have some animals called amphibians. They can live both in water and on land. That means that they can breathe air on land and then breathe too in water. So they have gills and lungs at the same time. Lungs are made for breathing air, and then gills are made to take the air out of water. That is why when you drown, you see that when a person drowns and then they bring the person out of the water, they start pressing the chest. Why? Because water entered the lungs, which in the normal situation shouldn't be. So they press your chest for the water to come out of your lungs, because on land, we breathe through the nostrils, dry air, and it gets to our lungs. So water is not supposed to go there. So when you are in water, animals that are in water, they breathe through the gills. So fish breathe through its gills to live. They all need air to live. Plants also take in and out air through their stomata. And where is this stomata located? In the leaves. So plants also take in and out air through their leaves. We take air through our nostrils. Plants take air through the stomata in the leaves. And that is how it looks like. So the leaves also breathe. They breathe air in and out. But we cannot see it with our eyes. But plants also take in air. And if you remember how plants prepare their food, they use sunlight, they use water, and they use air. That is carbon dioxide. So the carbon dioxide passes through the stomata in the leaves. And when they finish preparing their food, they also release another form of air called the oxygen through the same stomata, which we also breathe in. So you see that plants give us oxygen to breathe, and we also give them carbon dioxide to use, and they use some of this carbon dioxide to prepare their food. Good. Human beings and animals use the oxygen in the air to turn the food they eat into energy. So we don't just take in the air when we breathe. It also helps to turn the food we eat into energy. So the air that we breathe in also helps to turn the food into energy, so that we can walk about and do our normal activities. So human beings and animals use the oxygen in the air to turn the food they eat into energy. So for the food to break down and release energy so that you can also use it to perform your activities, we need air. So air is very important, and respiration, taking air in and out, called respiration, is one of the life processes. If you fail to take in air and then bring out air, that is the waste. We may die, or you will die. So when you stop breathing for some time, you will surely die. So it's an important life process. The next one is excretion. Excretion, removing waste from the body. Excretion, removing waste. So as living things, we need to remove waste from our body. Human beings remove waste from their bodies, one, by sweating. So when we sweat, we remove waste. And what are these wastes? We release excess water and salt. So if you taste sweat, you see that it is salty. So we release or remove waste through sweating, and that is excess water and then salt. We also remove waste by urinating. So any unwanted liquid in our bodies, we urinate this unwanted liquid out in addition to excess salt. So we remove waste through urinating. And the last one is defecating. So after digestion, all the unwanted food pass through the large intestines and then we bring them out as feces. So as living things, if we fail to remove waste, assuming you decide that you will not go to private for a week, or you will not urinate for a week, you will not survive. You will die. And we also sweat to remove waste. So if we fail to remove waste in our bodies, we will die. So it's an important life process. It's an important life process. Animals also remove waste from their bodies. They also urinate, as you see the dog urinating here, and animals also defecate, as you see here. So animals also remove waste. We take in a lot into our body, and some too come out as waste. When you send your fabric to a seamstress or a tailor to sew a nice dress for you, no matter how economical the seamstress or tailor is, at the end of the day, you get some pieces of the material that went waste. So in our daily activities as human beings or as living things, we release waste, and these waste must come out of the body so that the body will be free and then perform its work. So animals also remove waste through urinating and defecating. In the process of making food, plants also bring out oxygen as waste. Plants also bring out oxygen as waste. So plants and human beings, we depend on each other. We take oxygen from the plants and we also bring out carbon dioxide we don't need. And the plants also use that to prepare their food. After preparing their food, we also depend on this food, on the plants, to live. That is why we have a statement that when the last tree dies, the last man dies. Because if the last tree dies, you will not get any oxygen to take in. And if you also die, the plant will not also get carbon dioxide to prepare its food to live. That is why we say that if the last tree dies, the last man will also die, because we exchange this air for us to live. So in the process of making food, plants also bring out oxygen as waste. And this waste air comes through the stomata of the plant located in the leaves. Now let's get to the next one, sensitivity. Sensitivity. Sensitivity, ability to see and feel changes around. Ability to see and feel changes around. Viewers, as I said from the beginning, you can enjoy these lessons also on our social media handles. When you go to YouTube, go to Cafdil Edu, and on Facebook, go to Cafdil Cape Coast to enjoy these lessons. Now let's look at sensitivity as part of the life process of living things. Human beings use the following sense organs to notice. When we say notice, to feel or see changes around them. We have 5 sense organs. That's the nose, the eye, the skin, the ear, and then the tongue. What are these sense organs for? We have so many parts of the body, but we call 5 of them sense organs. These sense organs pick information from the environment and then they feed it to our brain. So when you go to school, you use these 5 sense organs to learn. Without these 5 sense organs, you cannot learn at school. When your teacher is talking, or as I'm talking, you use the ear to hear. Whatever you are watching, you are using your eye to see. So we use these sense organs to learn. If I take an ice cube from the fridge and I tell you to tell me whether it is cold or hot, how will you know? By touching it through your skin. Or if I put the ice cube on your skin, you will feel it whether it is cold or hot. So these 5 sense organs, the main activity they do is that they pick information from the environment and then feed it to our brain to also process. And human beings use these 5 sense organs to see and feel changes around them. When you take the nose, we use the nose to smell. When your mommy is cooking and the aroma gets through your nostrils, you see that, wow, this food will be delicious. It is your nose that was able to detect that the food will be nice. We use the eyes to see things around us. Without your eyes, it will be very difficult to see what is happening around you. We use the ear to hear things. So without the ear too, you cannot hear anything. So that we use the nose to smell things, eyes to see things, and ear to hear things. We also use the tongue to taste things. So if you look at the tongue, we have different aspects of the tongue that taste different types of food. So if the food is sweet, this part of the tongue, the red portion here, sweet, will tell you that what you tasted is sweet. If the thing is salty, this aspect of the tongue will tell you that what you tasted right now is salty, the yellow part. If the thing is sour, like taking a lemon, this portion of the tongue will tell you that that thing you tasted is sour. And then when it is bitter, when you are taking a medicine that is bitter, getting to your throat that you feel how bitter the medicine is. So these aspects of the tongue help us to taste different kinds of things as a sense organ. So we use the tongue to taste things. And then we also use the skin to feel or touch things. So these are the sense organs. So sensitivity is very important. That is why it is one of the life processes of living things. We use it to feel and see changes around us. Animals also use their sense organs. They also have eyes to see, ear to hear, tongue to taste, skin to touch, and then smell using their nose. So animals also use these sense organs. And all the animals in the animal kingdom, the animal with the most powerful sense of smell is the dog. Dogs have the most powerful sense of smell. Of all the animals in the animal kingdom, dogs have the most powerful sense of smell. You see how their nose is made. You see that they have an opening here. We don't have an opening at this side of the nose, but dogs have an opening at this side. When we smell things, what we smell should go to our brain before we can sense whether the thing is smelling good or bad. But with dogs, they can smell about 50 scents within a minute. So when the scent passes here and here, the dog knows the smell. So you see it. So immediately it passes that side and passes this side, the dog is aware of the smell. That is why even in the security systems, When you watch foreign movies or any other movie, you see that dogs, they use sniffing dogs. They use them in investigations. When you have a dog in your house, the dog knows the scent of each member of the family. They know. That is why if somebody comes in and the person is a stranger, they tend to bark at the person. But immediately they come. Sometimes you may be using the same perfume as family members. Assuming we are 5 in the house, but the 6th family member is not around, but they are using the same perfume, even the 6th person. Immediately the dog starts barking at you and senses the same perfume on you. The dog will see that you are part of the family. So dogs, when you are taking a dog to a place that the dog doesn't know, see what they do. You see that they move a certain distance and they urinate. They move a certain distance and they urinate if they don't know the road very well. So when they are coming back, it is the scent of their urine that will lead them back home. So dogs have the most powerful sense of smell in the animal kingdom. So that is why in the security systems, as I said, they use them a lot, even at the airport, to check whether people are carrying drugs on them or any other thing. The dogs are very powerful when it comes to the sense of smell. So don't joke with them. They know the scent of everybody they come into contact with. They know. So animals also use their sense organs. Some animals also use certain features of their body, like the insect. The insect use the antennae as a sense organ. These two, in class 4, we treated insects, and these two things you see here are the antennae, the pair of antennae. They use it as a sense organ. And when you come to reptiles, they also use their forked tongue as a sense organ. So you see the snake here, they use the forked tongue to smell. Reptiles use their forked tongue to smell. So not everyone uses the 5 senses that we talked about. Some animals also have special parts of the body that they use as a sense organ. An example is the antennae of insects and the forked tongue of reptiles. Plants also feel changes in their environment, and the mimosa plant is one of them. They fold up when you touch it. I believe you have come into contact with this mimosa plant before. You touch the leaves and the leaves fold up. You touch the leaves and the leaves fold up. So they are also sensitive to their environment. So plants also feel changes, see and feel changes in their environment. And an example of that is the mimosa plant. The mimosa plant. So living things such as animals, human beings, and plants all have special parts that they use to notice changes in their environment. Good. Kids, we have come to the end of the lesson for today. And today we looked at the life processes of living things. The life processes of living things. We looked at growth, that is becoming bigger, taller, and stronger. We looked at respiration, that is taking air in and out of your system as a life process. We looked at excretion, removing waste from your body. If these wastes pile up in your body, you will die. If this waste pile up in your body, you will die. So we remove waste through sweat as human beings, through urinating, and through defecating. We also remove waste by giving out carbon dioxide. Plants also remove waste by giving off oxygen. So we all remove waste. And sensitivity, that is special parts of the body that we use to notice, that is feel or see changes around us. So these are the 4 life processes we talked about in this lesson. Now, before we leave, let's test ourselves on these few questions. 1. Food provides energy and helps living things too. So we take in food, and the food helps living things to do what? The answers are reproduce, rest, and then grow. So food provides energy and helps living things to grow. Very good. So we take in food, and that helps us to grow. If you don't eat, you grow lean, you will not grow well. So we need to eat. It's a life process. Eating is a life process, and growing too is a life process. So when God created you, as you eat, you must grow. If you are eating it and you are not growing, then there's a problem. So you must eat and grow. 2, a living thing becoming bigger and stronger is called, a living thing becoming bigger and stronger is called, you have growth, movement, and nutrition. Good, the answer is growth. The answer is growth. 3, the process by which waste is removed from living things is called, the process by which waste is removed from living things is called, we have growth, you have excretion, you have respiration. Good, the answer is respiration. The answer is the answer is excretion. The answer is excretion. Removing waste is called excretion. 4, a fish can breathe through its, a fish can breathe through its, they have nose, gills, and mouth. Good, the answer is gills. So fish breathe through its gills. And the gills are located at this place. As you see, it's red in color. It's located at this place where you see it opening and closing. 5, the dog can see the bone in its bowl with which sense organ? If the dog can see this bone, then which sense organ help the dog to see the bone? We have nose, we have eyes, we have ears. Good, eyes, because we use the eyes to see. Use the eyes to see. You have all done well. You have all done well. And I believe you have enjoyed the lesson. But before we leave, let's take this homework. 1, explain the following life processes shown by living things. They have growth, sensitivity, respiration, and excretion. So you explain them. You explain the following life process shown by living things. So if you are explaining, you tell me growth, and then you explain the growth using human beings, animals, and then plants. When you come to the sensitivity, explain how human beings sense things in their environment, how animals also do, how some plants also do. Respiration, how human beings take in air, how animals take in air, how plants also take in air. And then excretion, how plants, animals, and then human beings also remove waste. Now, you see a QR code on your screen. You see a QR code on your screen. If you take your phone or your tablet or your phablet, go to QR code scanner. If you don't have the QR code scanner, go to Play Store if you are using Android, or you go to App Store and then you download the QR code scanner. Scan this QR code and then it will lead you to an exercise for you to try your hands on. Immediately you finish the exercise, the system will click on submit, and then you click on view results and you see the results of the exercise you did. So if you have a phone or a tablet or phablet, you can also scan and do the exercise right away. We have now come to the end of lesson 1 in basic 5, and I believe you learned something about the life processes of living things. Until I come your way again with another interesting lesson, this is your teacher, Ernest Ato Bente. Bye-bye.